Okay, so the DD2 drivers are ready. The engines are fired up. The drivers are focusing forward, and we're ready for their second opportunity to race in heat format. On pole position, we have the incredible performance in the opening race, Paolo Di Conto. He was miles ahead in that first race. Is he going to be able to do it again? But on joining him on the front row, that is going to do everything he can to change that, will be Ferenc Konchai in car 613. On the second row, one of the twins, Rupert Markkanen, or Robbie Markkanen as he seems to get affectionately called, Marcel Schummer alongside him. On row 3, Max Hoffer and Barry Pullinger. On the fourth row is the first of the Masters, Igor Mukin, who was really able to get up there mixing with the rest of the DD2 team, even though he is officially one of the Masters. Alongside him in 8th position is Kevin Ludi, who actually comes into this weekend 3rd in the championship, so starting in 8th has got some work to do. 9th is Pascal Carigier alongside Konstantin Scholl in 10th position. On the 6th row is Lorenzo Van Riet and Dimitris Vasilaris. On the 7th row, the Japanese master who won the opening round in the Masters class, Kawasi Tomokazu, alongside Mark Petreau. On the 8th and final row is Gezar Fodor and Tom Pitlick in kart 659. So we have 16 cars that will be starting this race. They're on their second of their warm-up laps. Remember, these are actually two-speed karts. They actually have paddle shifts on their steering wheel. So there's a little bit more for them to do in the kart than what we've seen so far, and I think it tends to quite often be a love-hate of which one they prefer, the single speed or the two-speed shifter, paddle shifter gears that we have here in the DD2. So they're now slowing down to get themselves in the 2x2 grid. I can't remember, I don't think they go quite as slow. Yeah, they're desperately trying to get them to slow down, and they're not really paying a lot of attention there, are they? They're waiting until they get round that turn number 10, the second of the hairpins, but I think they are now going to start getting themselves in that 2x2 grid and come down towards turn number 11, the penultimate corner, where the two marshals stand firmly in the middle of the circuit to make sure that they get themselves into that formation.
And of course, within the DD2, there's the Masters class to watch out for as well. So we'll keep an eye on who may come out on top in that one. It's going to be Igor Mukin towards the front. We've got Mark Berteau. We've got Tamsin Germain. Have we? No, not this time round. We've got Kawasi Tomokazu and Giza Fodor. So there's going to be 4 Masters to watch out for. We'll see how all of those goes in DD2 as the race is now to get underway with Paolo Di Conto leading the race down towards turn number 1. And Ferenc Konchai just dives straight towards the inside line. He wasn't going to let anyone cut underneath him. And it looks like they've all safely made it through the first couple of corners, which is good to see. So Paolo Di Conto leads the way. Ferenc Konchai is up there in second place. Robbie Markkanen then sits in third. And we'll watch to see the rest of the pack head their way down the back straight. But a good start from all of those up there. And Marcel Schummer, not the best of starts by the looks of it. He may have been attacked and passed by Max Hoffer in towards the first corner. So he's dropped down to what's going to be 5th place. But up front, Paolo Di Conto at the minute has got company from Ferenc Konchai, which is good to see. That's the way we want it.
Absolutely. I had a feeling he wasn't going to get his own way this time around, and definitely Ferenc Konchai had a fabulous opening race, battling with Anthony Abbas, our championship leader, all the way to the end. And look at this, they come across the line. It's actually not only Ferenc Konchai that's keeping Di Conto honest, it's Robbie Markkanen and Max Hoffer are right there, certainly the 4 of them. But you could turn around and say, what have we got? Pretty much a 7-car train, albeit that there's very tiny little gap between Max Hoffer and 5th place Marcel Schummer. Igor Mukin, what a great performance in 6th position, the leading master, and he's up there in the mix challenging for positions amongst the normal DD2 class.
Yeah, he did that in his earlier race as well. He wasn't just the top master, he was right with the top lot as well. So Igor Mukin really going well so far to date. Let's see if he can continue that for the time being. There's a change there for 3rd place as Max Hoffer has got through the blue machine up into what's going to be 3rd place. So he moves ahead of Robbie Markkanen, and that's going to put him now down to what's going to be 4th place. Those two should be able to work together in these places now as they turn their way on towards another lap. But watch out for 5th place as well. A long train of cars begins to grow here with Marcel Schummer, Igor Mukin, Barry Pullinger and Pascal Cargier as well in 8th place. And there's been a little bit of melee down there. There's someone off at turn number 1 who just rejoins the action now, and we'll try and work out who that may have been. But really, really good scrapping going on behind the top 4, and in fact it just broke up slightly there with the incident at turn 1, so it's now from what's going to be 7th place backwards by the looks of it, but Paolo Di Conto continues to lead the way.
Unbelievable. That was Igor Mushkin, the leading master, that we were saying that it's such a great job that he's doing up there, that he was mixing it up with the rest of the DD2, but he obviously got involved in the first corner melee, and interesting to see this. Paolo Di Conto was under massive pressure from French Conchar, and we really thought that Conchar was going to be able to keep him honest throughout. Well, in fairness, Di Conto has done it again. He's managed to break that toe, and he's just stretching his legs at the front of the field. The drivers themselves tell us that Di Conto is the class of the field. I didn't think he was going to get it this sort of straightforward, but he has managed to do it again. It really does show the class of the driver.
Yep, he continues to build the gap out front then to 3/4 of a second. There's been a change for 3rd place once again because Robbie Markkanen has moved back ahead of Max Hoffa, so that's just taken place a lap or so ago. So there's a 3rd and 4th place change once more. So now Robbie has got back up into that place. Can he manage to catch the top 2 now? He was just, of course, usurped by Max Hoffa a couple of laps ago, but now it's going to be Robbie Markkanen's turn to see what he can do about the top 2 as Paolo Di Conto works through the final corner with 7 laps now to go. Across the line they go in towards turn 1, and watch out for 5th and 6th as well, because you've got Marcel Schirmer and Barry Pullinger also on the attack here. So let's see if they can now build that speed and try and catch the 2 ahead. 49.1 for Marcel, 48.9 for Barry Pullinger, so both of those much quicker than both Robbie Markkanen and Max Hoffa, so it could be a 4-way fight for 3rd before too much longer.
Interesting that Kevin Ludi, who is 3rd in the championship as we head into this round, we said that he was starting down in 8th, is going to have some work to do. Well, it's not working out because he's dropped back to 9th, so he's got even more that he needs to pull out of the bag here. Konstantin Scholl started in 10th on the grid. He finds himself up in 7th, so a great performance by Konstantin. Doesn't seem to have had the rub of the green on the car. It seemed to have been a few gremlins along the way yesterday for certain, and he's hoping to turn the corner here today. I love watching 2nd position French Conchar come around this final bend. He is 4-wheel drifting onto the start-finish straight. Move being attempted there by number 609. I think he's going to make that one stick. Kevin Ludi. He has just been managed to pass Pascal Carigier, and they're still trying it down into the 2nd corner. I think the one that got shuffled down there, 625, Marc Bertrot, one of the Masters drivers, just kind of got shuffled to the back of that group. But definitely Ludi, he's now up to 9th position, and he's going to hope that he can pull out a few more moves. Yes, just yet.
Yeah, it looks like Vasilias has moved up the order as well into what's going to be 8th place, so he gets himself ahead of Kevin Ludi. So 8th and 9th places all real stuck together here, so they are the battling pack to watch out for at the minute, with 5 laps to go for Paolo Di Conto, who works his way onto the start finish line. A gap now that sits at 1.1 seconds between himself and French Kanskar, and then of course in 3rd place is still Robbie Markkanen, 4th place for Max Hoffa, and 5th place for Marcel Schirmer. Just looking towards the Masters class, it's now Giza Fodor who leads the way. He's 11th place overall, 1st in class. 2nd is going to be Kavazi Tomokazu, and Marc Berthaud is 3rd. But Igor Mukin, after the spin at turn 1, has dropped way down. He runs 16th place, and he's got a lot of work to do to try and catch back up with all of those.
He certainly does, but what an impressive performance by Geza Fodor. He started 15th out of the 16 cars and the last of the Masters runners in this race. And he's got himself not only 11th overall, but the lead master. What a fabulous opening stint to this race. Talking about fabulous opening stint to this race, here comes our leader that is showing yet again that he can not only hold on to that lead, but he can stretch his legs and pull away at will. And he's managed to do it. He's already 1.25 seconds ahead of French Conchar, that we've seen how good French Conchar is. We interviewed him and he told us that last year's performance was more down to him. He's got his head in the right place, his body in the right place, the car in the right place, but even he hasn't got an answer for the unequalable Paolo Di Conto.
Yeah, and if Paolo could speak very good English, he'd probably say easy peasy, because at the minute it's looking that way for Paolo, and he's doing a grand job of continuing to lead the way, just eking out gradually ahead of French Kanskar, so he's not under too much pressure. And French is doing a grand old job as well, because he's eked out the gap between himself and Robbie Markkanen as well. So really good racing from the DD2 boys at the minute. Everyone else behind is fighting hard to try and keep their positions. Here comes the one for 4th place at the minute, which is Max Hoffa and Marcel Schirmer. Those two head down in towards the first corner, separated by a gap of just 0.3 of a second. So a great job here from Marcel Schirmer, and before too much longer it looks like they may be joined by Barry Pullinger as well. So watch out for kart 660, which is 4th, 5th and 6th places at the minute, heading down the back straight. This trio of karts now turning into the right-hander and down towards turn 7. It really is getting close here, so this could be a change before the end as well, with just under 2.5 laps now to go.
Igor Mukin, who was the lead master and had an incident a couple of laps ago on turn 1, is starting to recover up to 15th position now, but still leaves him as the 4th out of the Masters, so still got an awful lot to do. Incredible that out front here, Paolo Di Conto is in the lead, but he's put in fastest lap after fastest lap. Okay, just as I'm saying that, he didn't that time. He went 2/10 slower, the massive 2/10 slower, but the point being is he knows that he's got this commanding lead, but he's enjoying performing to his absolute optimum. I think he's in the zone, he's on rails, he's just stretching that lead to 1.4 as we've just got 2 laps remaining. So they are on to their penultimate lap, and it is still De Conto from Kanchar, from Markkinen, that's Robbie Markkinen, Max Hoffer in 4th, Mathieu Schirmer, Barry Pullinger round out your top 6.
Yeah, just wondering, with this fight for 4th place, are we going to see what we've seen in previous races where the moves come right towards the end in the last few corners of the last lap? It's looking that way at the minute because Marcel Schirmer really building up the speed here, getting closer and closer to the back of Max Hoffer, and that gap's coming down and down. So watch out for these 3 karts now, and probably the good thing for Barry Pullinger, if anything happens with those 2 ahead, he'll be the first man to grab the advantage and try and make his way up a few more places. So 4th, 5th and 6th head now onto that last lap, in towards the right-hander at turn 2, and Marcel Schirmer really looking racy now. He's all over the tail of Max Hoffer as he turns his way on towards turn 5 and the back straight for the final time. Watch out for those 3 karts, because that's going to be the change surely before the checker flag comes down, and Paolo Di Conto very shortly is about to see that checker flag as he works his way through the hairpins at turns 9 and 10.
Well, the move wasn't made down in turn number 7, the restaurant corner, but is it still in line? As the leader is about to come through, let's pick up on the leader at this stage and keep an eye on that 4th position, still Hoffer. But here comes Paolo Di Conto, takes yet another victory, dominant victory, 2nd French Conchar, Robbie Markin in 3rd, and then we cast our eye back, still running line astern. He manages to hold on to that 4th position. Max Hoffer holding back Marcel Schirmer, who finishes 5th, and Barry Pullinger in 6th, who I think sensibly was taking a bit of a watching brief there so that he could mop up if anything happened. Great recovery by Konstantin Scholl in 7th position after starting down in 10th position, so made up a few positions. He'll be happy with that, I'm sure. Demetrius Vasilis in 8th, Kevin Ludi up to 9th, actually down to 9th because he started 8th, so contrary to hoping that he was going to recover it, he wasn't able to. He lost out on 1 position. Pascal Carigier in 10th, 11th was Lorenzo Van Riet, and Gezar Fodor finished 12th overall and the lead of the Masters. But look at that, just behind him in 13th position and only half a second back was the recovering Igor Mukin, who managed to get himself back up into 2nd in the Masters. Then it's Marc Berteau finishing in 14th, 3rd in the Masters, Tom Pitlick, and obviously we had a bit of an issue somewhere along the line with Kawasi Tomokazu. Last round, the winner for the Masters comes home in 16th.